Hey, folks, this is Brian Blessing. Hope you're enjoying the Hockey Betting Podcast. We have a couple chuckles, try to get you a lot of winners. If you like what you're hearing, hit the subscribe button, give us a review, give us a rating. Most importantly, enjoy the hockey and keep coming back to the Hockey Betting Podcast.
You're listening to the Hockey Betting Podcast, presented by BetCrisCanada.net. This is the Hockey Betting Preview for Friday, June 26th, 2020. And now, live from Las Vegas, the host of the Hockey Betting Podcast, Brian Blessing.
All right, kids, here we go. It's the Hockey Betting Podcast, heading to the weekend, maybe heading closer to an announcement on hub cities. One thing we are heading towards, and that's the draft lottery tonight. We got to get a bigger budget. Brian Blessing and Cam Stewart. We should have the sound of ping pong balls bouncing in the background. Should we? Am I missing something?
I don't know, buddy. I'm happy.
Day,
I'm happy we're on the air. Budgets? What are you talking about?
That's a hell of a
ping
point.
pong balls. Settle down, man. We got a show. Let's go.
Big day for a Sabres fan. Hey, it's draft lottery day. Let's do a barbecue and have a pool party. My backyard's gonna look like the Ozarks tonight. Hey, everybody! It's the Sabres.
It's Buffalo Sabres draft party. Come on in, take a dip.
Come on in. All right, everybody. Y'all. All right. Okay, everybody. Don't move. You're there. You got your flashcard.
Bring your water wings.
I wonder where Jack Eichel's watching this.
Probably in a hot tub with a chick. I don't know.
Why do I care?
What do you think?
Why do I care so much?
I don't know. You got problems, buddy.
Well,
so do I.
By the way,
yes.
Senators got to be the favorite, right? Just math.
Oh, yeah.
Like a simple math thing. They got 2 and 3 and add
that's
your
a team,
percentages up.
We can say we joke all we want. That's a team that if they don't screw it up, like I know there's issues with Melnick, but in the next 2 to 3 years with the young guys like Thomas Chabot's one of the best players in the league. Like that's a team with young players that I'd be very, very scared of in a few years.
I totally concur with that. I think you find themselves a goalie, right?
That's the thing. They've always got a problem with the goalie. Like they bring in Andrew Hammond, the Hamburglar. Greg Anderson's good, but he's getting long at the two. Wow. He's also dealt with a lot of stuff in his life. Like I'm a big fan.
Well, that was a wonderful season. That actually a great story, and I think his wife's doing well, and that's good.
Yeah.
But you're right.
Good guy.
Craig Anderson's Social Security number is 27.
You just can't help yourself.
No, I can't.
You just can't help yourself. Craig Anderson's actually one of the nicest guys in the league.
All right. Well,
I don't know. It's a good joke. It's a good joke.
I'm making fun of him. Mine's 9.
No, it's all good.
Hey, Moses is coming to the draft party tonight.
Man, I'll tell you, Brian, like this Hub City stuff, it's like, get on with it. Like, I'm just reaching a point right now. It's like the announcement of the announcement of the announcement. It's like, guys, like you don't have to. Hey, everybody, live on stage, the Hub City announcement. It's like, who cares? We don't care where they're playing. Just play.
Play. Vancouver's out, and I learned something before we went on the air, as we usually do.
Yeah.
The best information and the best stuff is actually before we actually hit the record button. But
true.
I learned something today, and this is, maybe more for our American listeners. The Vancouver thing, apparently Canada's got their own Dr. Fauci.
Oh, yeah, this chick in BC, she's like Dr. Fauci times 5. Like, things are going well there now. It's kind of like, they flatten the curve, and they don't want to see, hey, guys, you want to play some hockey? Nah, they couldn't care less about being a bubble city. They couldn't care less about the hub. They're out. Yeah, so Mrs. Fauci in British Columbia, she's saying, get bent. Get out of my province. We don't need you.
Yeah. So, hey, that would have been great. Instead, everybody head on over to Hastings Park.
Yeah. For a shot of gasoline and a needle. That place is dangerous.
The late pick 3.
I used to live there with my brother. He did construction. I remember walking down the street one day. There's like this like pretty hot chick in like an alleyway. My brother turned. I go, wow. That's pretty interesting. She's hit on rough. He goes, listen, I don't want to be rude or anything, but we'll see how this story pans out in like a month. Same chick, no teeth, just beat down 15 more years. I'm like, holy geez, man. It's, for all the people, Vancouver's beautiful, but east of Hastings, you better carry a jackknife, minimum.
So Toronto just got out of there.
Yeah, anyway, I don't know what's going on. Like they've opened up things. Like I was going to go get a haircut, but the golf picks have been good, Brian. So my lady, she's a little bit different, superstitious. She's like, no, you can't cut that rug till you don't win a golf bet. So I'm going to give it the weekend for the rug to grow. I don't know what the hell is going on here with this stuff. They've opened it up. Patios are open, haircut places, but there seems to be some kind of, roadblock. I have no idea.
Well, apparently Edmonton is all along.
I love Edmonton. Well, they got golf simulators and stuff. Like, what do these guys want?
Well, I am the prime minister, or was it? Yeah, the prime minister, I guess, of Alberta.
Yes, no, it'd be the premier. Brian.
The premier. Thank. I almost said premier. So the premier of Alberta puts together this 60-second video that's on social media for the NHL. Like, come on down. Like and they're showing snow-capped mountains. I'm going, hey kids, it's August.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, okay, yeah, you confused everybody. But when they talk about the facilities there, amazing. But our good buddy Dennis Bernstein was on my radio show yesterday from thefourthperiod.com, and we're kicking the tires on this thing. And literally, it sounded like Toronto's, like there's a real serious push for this to be in Toronto. And I asked him, now I've been there, he's talking about C&E Park, and I'm sitting there going, well, let's see. So the stadium, I saw John Mellencamp, or John Cougar at the time.
At the time he was John Cougar.
At the time he was John Cougar.
Yes.
I saw U2, I saw the Who there.
You're talking about the band shell there.
The baseball, no, the baseball stadium. And then the band
exhibition stadium.
Exhibition stadium. And then is it C&E Park or what the hell they call it?
Yeah, it's just the CNE. It's the National Exhibition, yeah.
It's top 5. One of the best concerts I ever saw outdoors in the park, where apparently they'd have all this activity and would be theirs. Saw the Guess Who reunion concert. Strong. Burton Cummings. Money.
Hey, Brian Blessing.
Albert.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you. No, it's a great place to watch a venue. I almost died at the Neil Young Pearl Jam Soundgarden show. I ran out of gas as these guys, about thousands of people are pressing me up against a fence. I'm like, I tapped out and they crowd surfed me to the side because I literally stopped breathing. But anyway, it was a great show. I'll tell you, I don't know what here's the thing about Toronto, Brian. They got the Marley's Ice, the Ricoh Center.
It's not close. That was going to be my question. I'm being an idiot talking about the concerts. But I was going to say, okay, you got the Air Canada Center.
Yeah.
But I guess my question is, I've been down there a gazillion times. But, I think you need 2 game rinks and you need a boatload of ice.
They already have 3 in the area. They have the Ricoh.
But
they have the Ricoh. And they have the MasterCard Center where the Leafs practice, and they have the Air Canada Center. That's 3. And they have, in my neck of the woods, they have the Hershey Center turned Paramount Center where the Ontario Hockey League Steelheads play. That's 4.
But it's not walking distance, right? I mean,
no, actually, the Ricoh is. The Ricoh's walking distance.
From Air Canada?
It's a long walk. I'm going to say it's a long walk. Yeah.
All right. I mean, no, isn't that the thing? I mean, you want these guys, I still kind of giggle at this thing.
You know what the thing, how crazy this is, Brian? You know what actually makes sense and why they're taking so long? New York actually makes sense. They've had the numbers go down. They got 1 million ice rinks out there. They have tons of hotels. I don't understand why they're taking so long. Actually, New York makes a lot of sense. They weren't even on the list.
I don't know.
Exactly.
The crazy thing about
I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know.
I know, but I'm just sitting there going, these guys, right? I mean, they're hockey players. They're not choir boys.
They're not.
These guys know how to beat a curfew in Ottawa, or if they're in Montreal and they want to go down to, hit a strip joint or go down to Crescent Street or go down to Stanley Street or whatever and go out. These guys know. These guys are going to be cornered rats for how long? And I don't know. What are you doing? Are you putting ankle bracelets on all these guys?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Hockey doesn't have the money that the NBA's doing. The NBA's hiring local cops, state cops, former special ops. Did you read that story in the bubble so no one gets in? It was like, hey, you want to leave the facility, take your life in your hands. I know that's not going to happen, but you're right. These guys can sneak out. They can find things to do. And I guess that's why they're trying to put in the movie theaters, the golf simulators, all the other. But here's the thing. I get it. You want to do those things. You're going to be playing for a damn Stanley Cup. Like even if you're living at home, like just suck it up for a while, right? And not every team's going to be there for that many months. You lose, you're out. You go home, you can go see your wife, you can have sex, see your children, do all that stuff. It's not like a life commitment here. Everyone's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, you're playing for a Stanley Cup. Like, I don't understand, like, even some of these guys are just like, it's not like your whole life. I get it. It's a little bit long, but don't you want to, like, anyway, it just the whole thing's driving me nuts, Brian. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
it's nuts.
Well, we had the Lightning. Like Friday was like a bad day, right? You had the Lightning facility, right. Austin Matthews.
Yep.
And then you had the Phillies, a bunch of college
golfers.
Football teams, golfers starting to pull out. So, I mean, this is, we said, listen, it's not if, it's when. The one thing that's odd and scary, and, we've said this all along, I think we got to get moving on with this thing. The NFL, the one guy, Micah Hyde from the Bills, he said, hey, listen, he said, their heart's in the right place, but pulling this thing off, this ain't no cupcake. And he said,
no, it's not.
And you know what he said? He said, what they're worried about, and it made sense when you think about this, a lot of these like defensive coaches or like offensive line coaches, defensive coaches, you can say the same thing in hockey. Some of these guys that are on the bench, some of these coaches, they ain't no spring chickens.
No, they're 60, 70 years old. Some of them are even older. And that's the thing. You saw the story with Rick Bowness, now the coach of the Dallas Stars, right? He's talking about, we're putting our faith in the process. Like he had a conversation with some of the older coaches. There's a couple of guys in the league, you said it. They're veteran. They're veteran guys. They've been around before. It's concerning for them because a young kid could probably shake it off, especially a hockey player. They're in fantastic shape. A lot of these guys that can, swim anywhere, run marathons. They're fantastic physical specimens. But you're right. Some of these coaches, they're concerned. But they said, listen, we love the game, and we're going to put this in the hands of the people that are smarter than us, and hopefully it goes down that way.
All right. By the way, the Hockey Hall of Fame was this week.
Oh, yeah. I got some issues with this.
All right. Iginla, Hossa, Doug Wilson,
Kevin Lowe.
Kim St. Pierre got in. And I guess the one that seemed to be, he's a great player. He is a great player. I'm not saying he's not deserving, but Kevin Lowe got in.
He is a great player.
And, it's almost like the Football Hall of Fame and all this, championships put you over the top. So he gets in. But I'm telling you, the hockey backlash, the hockey community, boy, yeah. Are they raising holy hell that Alexander McGillney's not getting
That's my guy. Alexander McGillney, Brian, you know better than anybody. You have to look at things in, through the whole scope. Kevin Lowe was a great player. Was he a Hall of Famer? He also played like everybody. There's 7 Oilers from that team that are in the Hockey Hall of Fame. You have Alexander McGillney, who was the first player to defect from USSR at the time, could have died or been killed, comes in there and then has a 72-goal season. Did he take nights off? Yes. But when you look at the numbers and you put everything together, Alex McGillney is an absolute lock for the Hall of Fame. And then you can even use the builder category for the risks that he took to get to this point and being an elite player. The fact that he's not in the Hockey Hall of Fame is ridiculous. A lot of people, in my opinion, like they don't even care anymore because it's like an old boys club. Let's call it for what it is.
So you're going to say, how political is this?
It's very political. You get your buddies in there. There's guys who shouldn't be in the hall, and there's guys like Alex McGillney they should be rolling out the red carpet for this guy. Does it hurt that he's Russian? Yes. Does it hurt that he's not buddies with everybody? Yes. Let's call it out for what it is.
No,
it's true.
Bingo. Listen. The irony of all of that, and I highly recommend. I don't know even, buddy, if you've seen this thing. I would imagine you could find it on YouTube. The great documentary, with Jerry Meehan and Don Luce when they were in Sweden, and they were riding around, moving from hotel to motel, and the KGB was following them.
Yeah.
and they got McGillney out of there. I'm working at the TV station in Buffalo, and I got a tip. It was one of the cool things. I think, it's not my life anymore, but it was back in the day. I used to get, you got to get the story first. All that.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate that world now because
so do I, because I get it wrong.
All these people want to be first and never get it right.
Exactly.
Right. But anyway, I used to have the guy was a great guy, and in Buffalo, U.S. Air. Right now we're talking. Right, U.S. Air was the main airline there. Nothing drove me more nuts. I had to fly to Pittsburgh or Philly to go west. It was the scoop. All right, but the guy was like one of the main supervisors at U.S. Air. Guy's a good buddy. Literally, I mean, I would get the call. This coach is coming in. This guy's coming in. This. I'd always have the heads up on when guys were coming in. But we got the tip about this McGillney thing. And we're at the airport, and we're across the street, and it was like the little private air, terminal or whatever. And we're across the street shooting through chain link fences. We were like the one. We got the video of him coming off the plane when he got to Buffalo. Nobody even knew who this guy was.
Exactly.
We knew there was this big story going. Well, honestly, the year he and LaFontaine. I mean, you think all the stuff that Teemu Solani did. LaFontaine and McGillney that one year, it was a freak show.
And Andrechuk was on that line, was he not? Andrechuk, McGillney,
he's on that team.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just trying to think.
I don't know that he was on
McGillney,
that line.
and LaFontaine, that's lethal.
But the crazy thing, Bud, you nailed it. Yeah, I love you. I'm proud of you because that's what I was saying though. Is see, he had a language barrier. He didn't speak a word of English when he got here. And then he was kind of this gruff guy. And if I'm not mistaken, right, but wasn't there a long stretch, and I think he was one of the guys, and especially when he went to Jersey, but he was in New York here, the Russian, there's some bad dudes in New York City, the Russian mafia.
Yes, they're everywhere in the certain area in New York City.
And those players were going through holy hell.
Yes,
dealing with those guys. But the fact that he was, the first, he defected and he put his life on the line and came and did that. And look at the state of hockey where it is today, and the world's a smaller place. It's not that it wouldn't have happened eventually, but he was the first one to do it. I mean, I think there's something to be said for that too.
Yes, that's an automatic Hall of Fame thing. Not only were you an elite player with Hall of Fame numbers, the thing, like that's the thing. You look at the whole picture. Like, say we're getting Brian, somebody's coming to Blessing Stewart Incorporated, and we're looking at the resume. I go, oh my God, this guy, escaped danger. He's got death threats. Oh, and he put up those numbers. He is the first guy we hire. Alex McGillney. Not only are you an employee, you get like managerial status. Come and hang with us. Let's crack a cognac and smoke a cigar. The way they're treating this guy, the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame just proves it's a joke. It's an old boys club, and it's very, very. It's actually really hurting the fact that they don't have him in. Look at guys who came afterwards, Pavel Bure and stuff like that. He opened
you remember
the door.
The one?
Let's get real, people.
You know what? By the way, I'm happy just to say the name because it's been a while. God bless Don Cherry. I mean, I miss Don Cherry so much. In terms of just the fun and the the goofball stuff he said.
Yeah,
but listen, he was always ahead of his curve and said they got no touch icing. They got to do this. The thing you watch now, the cat eyes the goalie has.
Yeah,
he's been saying for the last 4 or 5 years, some goalie's going to lose an eye with those cat eyes. And how many times you're seeing these eye injuries? And these are all things that like Don Cherry was ahead of the curve of. But do you remember? And he browbeat this Hall of Fame committee forever and a day about getting Pat Burns in.
Yeah, exactly.
And these dogs didn't do it until after he passed away.
Exactly. I agree with. I know I'm not going to agree with everything that Don Cherry said.
Of course not.
When it came to that, absolutely, you're absolutely correct. It's insane. Yeah. So you wait for the guy to die before you put him in. Like I got a lot of issues with these guys in the Hall of Fame committee. Some of them are like not even they're borderline Hall of Famers. Call it out for what it is. But anyway, we're not stupid, Brian. We figured it out. And, yeah, it's just even Alex McGillney. Like, I just remember being a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, like just watching him when I've watched him live a lot of times, and this guy was just absolutely insane. Like, he has I have memories of him, like when I've seen Gretzky as a kid, when I've seen other superstars as a kid, Ovechkin, Crosby, seen them all live. Like, I've seen McGillney live multiple times. I used to go to a lot of games back then, and this guy was just magic on the ice, just magic. When he wanted to play, he was unstoppable.
Well, I'll tell you, when a guy, he had more talent in his pinky, and he showed up every fifth game. who was unbelievable. Was it Kovalev?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Remember,
exactly.
I mean, he was a tank.
Yeah.
When he wanted to play, you just couldn't stop him.
Exactly. Exactly. Anyway, so we agree on that one. Just for the fact alone, like when you're risking life and limb to get to play hockey and then you actually do it very, very well. Anyway, and I'm glad that people stuck up for it. I think things need to change there, but they won't.
All right. So the one thing that would come to pass here, if it's Edmonton, it's guaranteed that either Vegas or Edmonton would end up being in their home city. If it's Toronto, all right, the scenarios in play. There's some reports where some of the Golden Knights allegedly were told, "Hey, be prepared. You know, we're doing this by the way, we're going to be playing at home." But then there was Brooks reported out of New York that the Rangers and the Islanders were going to Vegas. So if it is Toronto, and then they want to get the Canadian city, great. But you'd have that Eastern Conference hub and a Western Conference hub. Do they then ship the West Coast east and the East Coast teams west?
Yes. Yes, they do. So I think if Toronto is chosen, that's what they said from the get-go, Brian. So the Western Conference would play in Toronto. The East would play in Las Vegas. That makes total sense for me. Just from an optics point of view, I think that's what they have to do. The thing is, Edmonton does make sense, but yeah, they don't want to have the two Western things. So when push comes to shove, it's probably going to be Vegas as Toronto, as we predicted like a long time ago. A lot of things have changed between them, but when everything's said and done, that seems to make the most sense because I know the optics they're already bad that they haven't picked the hub cities yet. I got to believe, I think Edmonton would be a great Edmonton and Toronto, but they don't want to have two hub cities in Canada. I really don't care if the hub cities are in the United States or Canada. It doesn't matter to me. As I said on shows on my network, I think getting a hockey team in Quebec is a hell of a lot more important than a stupid hub city. But anyway, that's a story for another day. I think it's going to be Vegas and Toronto. I just want this announcement soon so we can start moving forward because they're going to have a lot of challenges after naming the hub cities just to make sure that this thing goes down. As I predicted before, Brian, we talked about this. I don't think baseball makes it through. I think they go for a couple of weeks and they have no timeline. If something goes wrong, it's over. And I don't want to be in that situation with hockey. I think that's why they're taking a long time too. They're getting their they're doing their due diligence and they really want to get it right.
By the way, it's the hockey betting podcast. I mean,
let's bet.
No, the problem is we're having a hockey chat today because we've said
there's no lines. We told you who we like.
Well, when you get to the round robin games, honestly, I'm really of the belief, and I don't know what coach, but I think you'd be able to see it. That I don't think winning the round robin thing means a damn bit of difference.
I agree.
The only thing really you gain. Oh well, yeah. Well, maybe you avoid. Who knows who wins the. The teams coming on that shouldn't even be in the playoffs could be the hot team and be the nightmare you don't want to play anyway. But I think that the teams have the luxury in the round robin to roll four lines. But there's going to be some coach meaningful game. We got to win this and shorten his bench. I'm like, well, that's stupid. You should work on everything to be ready for the games that really matter. And then I think the round robin games, could be higher scoring games. So when we get to that point, and then we'll dive into the play-in series when we know the location and we know a little bit more. The training camp date, I bet you they may even move that back a couple of days. The one real positive thing, Cam, was that the Lightning thing happened on Friday and they closed the facilities. Well, they reopened the facilities yesterday. So, I mean, literally the facility was closed 6 days.
Yeah,
so,
that's good news. They got things all cleaned up. They're ready to rock. And, yeah, I'm with you, Brian. It's going to be really interesting. And you saw the story with Carey Price. He said he still has a lot of questions that need answers. And one thing about him, all the people that are thinking about Montreal, this guy might not even go. He's having a kid. So there's a lot of decisions that have to be made. What?
Oh, boy. Listen, it's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Good. Sound effects.
A little monkey.
Sound effects while I'm doing this.
Yep.
There are going to be guys. See, the players have a say in the hub cities, by the way. Right? They're voting on this. I mean, okay, do they for whatever reason, if the guy's saying, I don't want to go to Edmonton. I mean, it's probably part and parcel part of it. Now you got Panarin yapping out.
I know.
This one. He's saying, I ain't showing up. They got to come up with a CBA. He says, this escrow thing, we shouldn't even show up to do this. unless we get a labor agreement because they're going to rip our heads off our shoulders with escrow. You're going to have guys, a guy like Panarin, who, by the way, is a pretty vocal guy his entire career, right? I want out of here. I want out of here. But you're going to have some of these guys who are going to say, nope, ain't worth it, the financial aspect of it. And you're going to have some guys like a Domi, who's got the diabetes. Would you believe? You can't say a word, right? No. But it'd be very curious to see how many of these guys say, yeah, thanks, I ain't doing it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like the basketball players, a lot of them have already come out and said it's not happening. Cully Stein, his wife's having a kid, and that's the thing with Carey Price and the baby. That's a whole different scenario. And you bring up some really good economic points, Brian. That's the thing. We haven't even heard this side of the argument yet because we don't even know where we're going to be playing. But yeah, there's a lot to take in, buddy. And I just pray that things go through and we can bet on this stuff every day and have a lot of fun, because once they do play, you saw the story, triple headers. It's going to be like, I don't even know what we're going to do. Our heads are going to be spinning. There's going to be so much hockey going on. It's going to rock.
Buddy, through all this time, you just, the things you think of, and life questions, and it's just come to mind for me that, what do you think the toughest job in the world is in our new existence? I think I know what it is. Don't you think wouldn't it be really hard being a security guard in a bank today?
That's a good point, Brian.
I'm like, hi, sir, welcome.
Or even like a gas bar attendant or something. Like, I got to be honest with you, I thought about robbing a gas station when the Seahawks lost that Super Bowl to Pittsburgh. I don't know how many people are sitting around right now thinking, God, I really could use some cash. Or, you're absolutely right. I'd be very, very scared.
And then their protocol would be so different. It would be right. It wouldn't be, especially if you're in an open carry state or whatever, So literally, when they come in at the bank, they're taking, the thing at your forehead, taking your temperature, and then they're frisking you to see if you have a note on you to give me all your money.
I went in. I had to get dental. Like, I haven't gone to a dentist in 5 years. I went yesterday. They brought out that temperature gun. And first of all, I can't go in first, right? They have me in a little hub with the sun just blazing through the window. I'm just, Brian, I had like sweat stains in my pits, my stomach. Like, I was just sweating right through my shirt. I am dying. She whips out the gun. I'm like, I start sweating more, but I was like, oh yeah, thank you.
Did she have the
shower too? I was like 94 or whatever. Like, oh, thank you. It's got to be 101 or 104, like 100.7.
Well, my buddy, my best friend in the world's a dentist, right? But dude, are they all wearing the welder's mask?
Oh yeah. Oh no, I went in there like they weren't screwing around. Yeah, they had the protective shield. They were using my buddy. I felt like they were mining for gold with my teeth. I haven't gone in like 6 years. Like it was absolutely. And the thing is, I got a long tongue. The water's like choking down my throat. And then I go for an X-ray, and the thing goes around your head. I was just like, get me the hell out of here. But I got through it, buddy.
How accurate can you be from 6 feet away with the dentist drill? I mean, yeah. Hey, you have a beautiful new molar on the bottom left. Come back in 2 weeks, and I'll try to hit the one I was next to it that I was aiming at.
Yeah, Brian, I'm hurting. Like, my mouth's killing. I told you about my back. I fell in the shower. I'm just a piece. I'm just like barely hanging on by a thread. But anyway, buddy, we're getting through this stuff, and we just keep on grinding because that's what we do.
All right, kid. Just to get my buddy Cam have my back. It's a story for another day, but go Sung Kang.
Sung Kang. Yeah. Like, oh, buddy, I just tell you, I'm looking at a couple of guys on the leaderboard going, I'm actually, you know what? I've got my two, Brian. I'm a team player. You can have yours this week. I'm cheering for you.
All right. 320-1.
Oh, God, I wish.
two shots off the pace. Anyway,
that's unreal.
But I can't wait for the hockey to come back. We start yapping about the series and the games.
We can actually start talking more about betting, the series, the futures, all that stuff. That would be fantastic.
And it's going to be the last thing. We'll wrap it up with this. But the other stuff we're going to be watching, like I said, the draft lotteries tonight. The NHL draft, by the way, it's so different than the NFL draft. You know, some of these guys being taken.
You know a couple guys, but yeah, after a few, you're like, oh, geez,
and the sixth pick. Oh, yeah, that kid from Minsk, he's really good.
That's right. FC Moto. Yeah, the kid from Switzerland, HC. Yeah, I don't know what the hell they're doing, but anyway, yeah.
I was watching highlights of a couple of kids the other night. I'm sitting there going, get a life. This kid.
Yeah, seriously, talk to your wife and family, Brian. Seriously.
Well,
get a life.
No. It literally what happened was keep watching the news and bite your fingernails. Coil up in the fetal position, sucking your thumb under the coffee table, or go out and watch the potential 9th round pick of the draft's highlights. So I'm watching this kid Rossi, the center. He's like the projected 9th pick. Looks like a good player to me, buddy.
Yeah, it is unbelievable. I prefer to watch that over the news too, Brian.
I hear you.
Good choice.
All right, I love you.
Love you too, buddy.
All right, we'll be back next week, and now we'll have a little draft lottery nonsense we can yap about, the Lafreniere kid, but to see who wins the draft lottery. And by then we'll have the hub thing. One would sincerely hope. And as the thing when this thing starts up, Cam, we're going to have a rock and roll time, right? Every night.
That's what I'm saying. Right.
Hey, tomorrow we got these three.
People don't know. Like right now, like we have nothing, but when it stops, it's almost going to be like it's going to be too much. It's going to ding, 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 ding. Like you talk about ADD, Brian. That's the thing. Like it's not slowly going to come back. It's going to come back gangbusters. So it's going to rock for all you people that like Brian and I like to bet on everything, sides, totals, the buffet of sports gambling and hockey. We got you covered.
All right. I swear this is it. But when seriously, when this stuff starts, I think it's not that insane a format that how you do this, and I think you just rotate it 2-1 one day, alternate. But I think 3 games a day, bare minimum.
Yep.
I think stagger them out, and I think you play a round robin game. Let's say at noon Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
Or 1 o'clock, something Eastern, and then you have a playoff game at 3:30 or 4 o'clock.
How about noon, 3:30, 7, 10:30?
Yeah. Well, play 3 a day. I think
I think you could even do 4, but we'll go with your plan. Yeah.
Because why it has to be 3, I believe, Bud, is you can play a round robin game in the morning.
Yes.
Then at night, then the bridge game is elsewhere at the other hub city, or if they have a second rink. But the other playoff game is in the same rink as the round robin game, which are regular season rules in the morning. It's not fair. You can't have any guys sitting there going, okay, we're playing after that game, but if that game goes to double or triple overtime, and then those guys got to kick a soccer ball in a hallway for 2 hours waiting.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah,
so
that's exactly
a round
true.
robin game at one location, later that night a playoff game, other location, an afternoon playoff game. Merry Christmas. 3 games a day. Get on with your lives, and let's see if we can't get this thing done by the Winter Classic. Hey, folks, this is Brian Blessing. Hope you're enjoying the Hockey Betting Podcast. We have a couple chuckles, try to get you a lot of winners. Hey, we hope you like what you're hearing, and if you do, hit the subscribe button and give us a review, give us a rating. Most importantly, enjoy the hockey and keep coming back to the Hockey Betting Podcast.
The handicapping and sports odds information contained on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm the wagering regulations in your jurisdiction as they vary from state to state, province to province, and country to country. Using this information to contravene any law or statute is prohibited. The podcast is not associated with, nor is it endorsed by any professional or collegiate league, association, or team. This podcast does not target and is not intended for an audience under the age of 18. If you think that you have a gambling addiction, stop this podcast now and please seek help.
Gambling and betting on sports is a form of entertainment and should be about having a good time. But when done excessively, it may negatively affect other areas of a person's life, such as their physical and mental health, school or work performance, finances, and or interpersonal relationships. At BetCrisCanada.net and the Hockey Betting Podcast, we're concerned about the addiction that gambling may cause, and for this reason, we encourage everyone to practice responsible gambling, an approach to gambling that helps you ensure that it remains an enjoyable activity. Here are the main principles of responsible gambling. Don't think of gambling as a way to make money. Always gamble with money that you can afford to lose. Set limits and stick to them. Never chase losses. Don't gamble when you're depressed or upset, and create a healthy balance. Always be aware of how much time you spend gambling or thinking about gambling. And do not allow gambling to cause you to miss out on time with family and friends or time spent on other activities you enjoy. By following these guidelines, gambling can be a good time and great entertainment. If you feel at any time that your gambling is taking away from important areas of your life, is causing you stress or depression, or is leading to financial losses that are beyond your control, please reach out for help. Learn more at responsiblegambling.org.